I encourage you to meet with several before making a final decision for any procedure. Maintaining your body is an important job. Choose wisely the person you enlist to help you with your biggest asset, which is you. Do you know what they call the guy who graduated last from medical school? Doctor. So think to yourself, am I getting top of the class or last of the class? Because they're all called doctor. I want to put this in there because I think that so often we approach things, I don't want to say ignorantly, but we approach things without fully investigating. We take them at face value. We walk into a doctor's office and we assume that he is great at what he does and that he's going to make the best decisions. I think that it's important that we take control and that we research, not to get to the point that you're crazy WebMD, think that you have everything possible, but at least have some type of understanding of your body, what your body is saying to you, and that way when he replies with his diagnosis, you can kind of think, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense, and then speak up appropriately. You're not going to get in trouble for questioning. And this holds true with your car. Don't just take at face value what the mechanic says to you. Think to yourself, I just had the oil changed. Do I really need to have it changed again? Is there a bigger problem, or are they just trying to take me? It's so important to just be involved, take control. I never let people make decisions for me. I want to make sure I understand what it is they're telling me, research it, and then that I somewhat agree with the decision that they're recommending for me. So that much is kind of going into researching and taking control. This next one, I think about this one probably 4 times a day. Trust but verify. I trust and believe all information that is given to me, and I trust that the person giving it to me believes that information to be true, but that doesn't mean it's true. I always like to ask myself, kind of going back to the last snippet, does that make sense? Does that fall in line with what we're talking about? Maybe that's not quite the experience I had. I also kind of realized that 2 people working on a project can't each give 50%, making 100. You have to each give 100% so that you can catch mistakes made by the other one. So yes, along the way, you're trusting their work, but you're verifying. I think this applies to just so many aspects of our lives. The next section is love of yourself and others. This one, I think, was probably the most difficult to write, and I think as women, it's hard for us to love ourselves, and it's also very difficult for us to love others, because I think that there's a small part of us who's always wondering what their motives are, why are they with us, what does love feel like, is it going to be wearing a red sweater when it walks in, like how are we going to be able to identify it? So one of the first snippets in this section is love yourself. This should take years if you do it right. It involves identifying what is fabulous about yourself and what isn't, and accepting that these findings are okay and in no need of correction. Everyone told me, love yourself, but I didn't know that loving myself meant that if I found things about myself that I didn't necessarily like, I didn't have to change all of them. I may do 3 or 4 things that are obnoxious to people around me, but I enjoy doing them, so I do those alone. But as you go through your journey, you can just kind of learn things about yourself, make changes where necessary, but also acknowledge what things don't need to be changed. So love yourself is that one. The first person to ever meet you is you. You owe no one anything and yourself everything. That was very hard for me to learn. I felt in the reverse. I felt that I owed everyone else something, that I needed to make them happy first, and I owed myself nothing and didn't need to make myself happy. Because at the end, who knew if I wasn't happy or not? But through my journey, I realized that it was you owe no one anything and yourself everything. That's how it should go. Repeat this to yourself when you find that you're settling in relationships. Crying in the bathroom at work, or denying your hair color because you love the one that J-Lo just got. This kind of goes into knowing who you are as a person and owning it, and not trying to satisfy, a girlfriend, or trying to satisfy, your boyfriend. Doing what makes sense to you. The first person to meet you is you, and that's ultimately who you have to answer to. Treat a girlfriend to lunch just because, or buy the gas of the woman beside you. Hold the door open for your local UPS man. because you're blessed with the arms that allow you to do this. Karma is a kind woman. She'll repay you with a close parking spot the next time you want to swing into your local coffee shop and are short on time. It never occurred to me the power I had as just one person, and equally the power I had as just one person without having to spend any money. You can open the door for the UPS man because you have the strong arms to do it. That is a gift that is a joy to give. Treating your girlfriend to lunch not because it's your turn or it's her birthday, just because you want to. There's so much joy in doing something because you want to. So I challenge everyone to kind of find something like that they can do. The last section of the book is Facts of Life. These were just things that I kind of realized along the way that they just are what they are, and you just accept them as they come. Stopping something you have realized is no longer your thing is not the same as quitting. Goals change, and that's okay. However, stopping because it's too hard, that does count as quitting. Being someone who is so goal-oriented and so focused on not being a quitter and finishing everything I started, I was afraid to speak up to myself and those around me. If I found that I was in a scenario and that I was working towards a goal that once I learned more about, I kind of realized this isn't me. And I interpreted that to mean that I would be quitting if I didn't finish that goal. It took me years to realize that deciding that something isn't the right fit and quitting are different. So that's why I kind of put that last section in. However, stopping because it's too hard, that does count as quitting. So ask yourself, am I stopping because it doesn't fit, or am I stopping because it's too hard? Then I think that'll kind of help you know if you're making the right decision.